Hi everyone, here I am with my good friend Jason. We are going to be talking about Peter Tosh because we've got a new top. And the eagle-eyed ones will notice that Jason's got one on.
Absolutely. It's a corker. Just arrived this morning. It's gone straight on. It is very nice indeed.
It looks good on you, mate. I like in the hat as well. That's very, very inspired.
Yeah, well, as we've touched on before, I do like that bit of early 70s funky look. So it's, yeah, and I think this plays into it rather nicely as well.
Right, well, let's just go on to Peter Tosh because I think you know more about him than I do. You're just better at that kind of Jamaican culture than me. So, what does he mean to you, mate?
Okay. It's hard to say. Obviously, everyone knows Bob Marley, but fewer people tend to know Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer. Peter Tosh basically was the man who taught Bob Marley how to play guitar. It was him that was the kind of leader of the band, I think, and up until about sort of 72, 73, when they signed for Island Records, they were very much sort of the trio, and it was really sort of Chris Blackwell's influence then that made them sort of kind of part their ways, I think. But really, I think without Peter Tosh's influence at the beginning, you wouldn't have sort of ignited the flame that was sort of Bob Marley, because Bob Marley, I think, is probably a talent you maybe see once a generation if you were lucky.
I think you're probably right on that, mate. I mean, Peter Tosh, it's very much, it was the Wailers, wasn't it? Which we're going to, I think is, let's throw up pick two. We throw up pick two. I know we're going to come on to talking about the cultural moment of that, but at the top there, you can see the three of them. And it's very much the Wailers. It wasn't Bob Marley and the Wailers. It was the Wailers, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, very much so. And I think because Peter was quite sort of militant as well. I mean, he was the archetypal rude boy when they first started off with their tracks like Simmer Down and Rude Boy. He was quite a tough kiddie.
I mean, you can see that on pick one, can't you? If you throw up pick one, that image there where they're in the suits, and the song Simmer Down, that's a huge song.
Yeah, absolutely. It still sounds great now. I should be wearing this top on Friday when I go out to see the chaps at Scar Beat Soul to do their do.
Oh, right, nice.
Play it for you.
All right, well, Simmer Down is, I think I even heard it at Blue Cat 2 weeks ago. It's one of them songs, Simmer Down. It's just got that lovely, that early Scar sound, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like Justin Hines and all of those sort of guys. Got that real kind of classic sound.
And all that, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, let's go on, sorry.
From that sort of Scar sound came the Rocksteady. And of course, a lot of Rocksteady is massively influenced by the Impressions, as is famously that photo of the three of them there. And, their vocals sort of melded into that. And it was sort of then that you sort of get that sort of kind of turn into reggae, where it became actually sort of more of an international flavour, I think, from there.
Well, let's talk about that picture that's up at the moment. You know, it's them on the old Grey Whistle Test. It's 1973. Yeah. They're playing. I think they did Concrete Jungle and Stir It Up.
Yeah, and that's right. They've been promoting Catch a Fire album, I should think, from that. And that's where Chris Blackwell did come into his own, I think, and the sort of, he had the distribution, he had the power through Island Records to really get them known globally. But I think he favoured, certainly that's what Peter Tosh felt, that he felt he favoured Bob Marley of the three of them. In fact, I think Peter Tosh famously nicknamed Blackwell White Worst, I think.
It's true. I've watched a few things on TV saying about that particular clip, where when it was coming on, and there was, I forget, it was one of the, Don Letts documentaries, and he was saying, how that was such a massive thing. And I remember on that same documentary, they were saying, I've heard like John Peel wouldn't play reggae then. He thought ska or reggae was too pop, whereas Bob Marley, well, that Wailers clip it's pop, but it's not pop, is it? It's not fluffy, is it? It's saying something different.
I don't even go as far as to say, I don't know if Bob Marley's necessarily strictly just reggae. I think there's there's like a folk element to what he does.
Yeah.
You know, he's almost like, and this sounds ridiculous, but he's almost like the Rastafarian kind of Bob Dylan. There's a uniqueness to you know, to him, very spiritual, and I think a lot of people can tap into that.
Yeah, well, let's just go on to Peter's later life.
Yep.
As you can see on the screen there, we were just nattering before we started videoing about he did the legalise it. Now, I remember that. That was quite a big thing at the time, if I remember right, or it certainly caused ripples.
Yeah, absolutely. And that song itself was from the album of the same name, of course. I mean, he had a number of hits, and it was a massive influence. I mean, he was a Rastafarian. There is talk that he introduced Bob Marley to Rastafarianism. I don't know if that's the case, but yeah, he was certainly big on the the legalizing cannabis campaign.
Yeah, yeah.
And he got some big followers. I mean, likes of the Stones got on board with it as well, you know, and they even recorded a few songs together in the end.
Yeah.
Walk,
But he certainly crossed borders. He did a lot, and I think so. Let's get on to talking about. We've briefly showed the Two-Tone Man again. We talked at the Finger Bob.
Yeah.
That's obviously another massive influence, because how many kids probably knew that was based on Peter Tosh? You know, what amazing. But let's get on to this top. You've got one on. I
love it.
Go on. Yeah, you were saying
it's
that.
Incredibly soft material, 100% cotton. I see, and honestly, it feels almost like merino wool. It's a really beautiful, lightweight material, and it feels like merino wool. And in fact, I feel it's one of those ones that would, you know, when it's cold, you feel quite warm, and when it's hot, you'd feel quite cool. And honestly, it's really nicely made. It's rather lovely, I have to say.
All right. Well, thank you for the compliments. I mean, I've got the Null one on, which is coming out late, and it's made of the same material. I must admit, I've had it on for the last 24 hours, and it is lovely. I do just want to draw some attention to why we did this as a cardigan. And you remarked earlier, we've done it in this material. We could have done it in the original polyester, no doubt, that he wore. But
dry when it comes out the washing machine,
yeah, and it'd been itchy, and we probably would have set off all of the fire alarms in this place with the static electricity you would have given off and all of that. So, Jason, we need to move on. This is going to be on the website very soon, if it's not available now. If you've liked this, I want to thank you, Jason, for coming on with us and having a brief chat. Thank you again, mate. If you've enjoyed this video and want to watch others, there's more on the website, but thank you for now.